You're watching Face to Face. I'm your host, Tim Vince, and I'm very pleased to be joined by David Quinton, aka Dr. Groove. And we're going to talk about your life, David, and your vision and how you see things playing out in the current generation. But just tell us why Dr. Groove?
Yeah, Dr. Groove. So, well, first of all, thanks for the invitation, Tim. I'm looking forward to having a great conversation about these things. So, aka Dr. Groove, I've been in the music industry now for 22, 23 years, and I picked up a guitar on, I think it was my 13th birthday, and started writing songs. And when it got to about 2004, my wife got pregnant, and I had a daughter that came along. And I was given a device called Dr. Groove. It's made by Boss. It's an instrument for composing drums. And I was given this thing from our drummer, and my daughter was born. And on the day she was born, a few days after, I was very emotional, and I was captivated by the experience of life and being a father. And after crying for 24 hours, I picked up this instrument called Dr. Groove, and I started writing music on it. And I wrote a song called Endless Love on Dr. Groove, and I used that device as a lot of the composing of my music for several years, and people started calling me Dr. Groove.
Okay, that's really great.
Yeah.
So you grew up in South Africa.
That's right.
And you became a believer in South Africa. Tell us about your spiritual journey.
Yes, so I grew up in the church. My father was a minister and a pastor, and I experienced the whole walk for a physical aspect, the good sides and the bad sides. And I found Christ at a really young age. I think I must have been definitely confirming 9, 10, and I didn't get baptized too much longer after that. And my life with Christ has been serious ever since then. I knew what I wanted, I knew where I was going, and I knew what I believed in. Faith was strong.
I won't ask how old you are, but sort of in the early 2000s, you left South Africa.
Yes.
Where did you go? What did you do then?
So left South Africa. So what happened, to give you a full explanation, is we got serious inside the music 2002, and we started touring the country, and we did a few outreach programs, and we knocked on various record label companies, and we signed our first record deal with a record label, Sting Music in South Africa. It was a secular, it wasn't a Christian label, but they opened up the door for us. And through events that happened in South Africa, we ended up leaving South Africa in 2006, so we went over to Ireland. And we toured Ireland for a while, 7 years, then we went back to South Africa 2007, 2008.
And just tell me a little bit, because the whole music industry has changed, hasn't it, in the last few decades?
Yes.
So when you signed up that label, it was before Spotify and all of these online music providers.
Still doing the CDs.
It was CDs, okay.
So what happened was we started touring 2002, and we picked up a lot of fans, and we picked up a lot of support for the music, and the record company obviously found us. But initially we did knock at a few Christian record labels' doors, and the door was closed for us.
Oh dear.
As I say, this is one of the negatives we face from that side, but God always brings something good out of it. And we ended up signing a record deal with Sting Music, which is one of the biggest record companies in South Africa. It's owned by a fellow by the name of Joe Taron, and if anybody knows who Joe Taron is,
well, I could pretend that I do,
but God is good, and He opened up a very big door for us.
And when you say us and we, how many of you were there?
So the band?
Because you call it Saints of Bliss,
so
I've got to get that in because that's the title of our program.
Yeah.
But there are how many? 3 of you?
It's a 3-piece rock band.
Okay,
yes.
great.
So we got drums, bass, and guitars.
Yeah.
So that's what started the ball rolling. The record company heard about us, and came to watch us performing at a school. We were doing high school, and they thought we were the Beatles.
Really?
So we picked up the wave, and we signed the deal. And God opened the door for us there, because if we had gone through, obviously, more of the religious door, it wouldn't have opened up the secular door. So through that, the record company got us plugged onto, for example, South Africa, it's called SABC, over here it's called BBC. So they got us plugged into all the mainstream television shows, they got us plugged into all the mainstream radio stations.
And what were the lyrics? So did you manage to inject Christian lyrics, so you got a wide audience for them?
The first single we ever released was called Show Me the Way. And the song was very challenging about life and about the difficulties of life. And the song got through, it was plugged in. I would say the lyrics are subliminally Christian, and it's expressing my own journeys, because I'm the main songwriter and the lyric writer. And the songs were very expressive about my journey. And the song says, show me the way. Love is forever, and God's love. And the song plugged in onto, for example, BBC over here, but in South Africa, SABC. It played on that broadcasting through the radio station every single day, and through the TV every single day. So we saw how God was using that to get out to the world, because we were a Christian band coming to the secular market, not coming as a praise and worship band, but coming as musicians who sing about life and sing about love and sing about our experience. And so we saw.
I must say, on my visits to South Africa, I've been amazed at how much Christian material there is just in the secular bookshops, airport bookshops. We don't have it over here.
No.
There'll be a big New Age section. You'd struggle to find one Christian book in an airport bookshop, whereas in South Johannesburg. So there's a kind of environment there that's open to the Christian message.
Yes.
So that's quite a good place to start.
It is good, yes, it is good. The thing what we faced in South Africa was more of oppression from the Christian move and the church move, because obviously we came out as a Christian rock band, and we showed that the youngsters, the teenagers, wanted what we had to produce, but we always struggled to find the open doors of the church to lead the youth on. We continued touring, we continued bringing on the kids, we continued packing the halls and getting the band waving. We had several hit singles all over the radio stations, and we continuously faced oppression from the church. Yeah.
So then, a big step to move to Ireland.
Yeah.
That was Southern Ireland.
Southern Ireland.
Yeah.
So we got contacted from a radio station in Ireland about one of our new singles, because we released our second album in 2005. And we released a single called Born on the Wrong Side, and it got heard about inside Southern Ireland, and a radio station got hold of us, did us with an invitation.
That's got a lot of meaning. I mean, even in the sort of the poor, the rich divide, or the black-white divide in America. That's quite an interesting title. Born
it is
on the Wrong Side.
Born on the Wrong Side, because all the music that I write is connecting with life, is connecting to experience, and it's connecting to events, both good and bad. And the music that I write relates to my experience through Jesus and through God. But some of my lyrics are very questionable. I grew up reading the Psalms and the Proverbs, and the music is very
enough, isn't it, for music?
It is.
It's strange that the church shut the doors to you. But
we always found that the door was closing, and to be honest with you, we approached some of the big people inside the church network in South Africa. We actually did a huge concert, one of our biggest concerts, at a big shopping centre called Gateway in Umhlanga. And we invited all the church youth, and we had been flooding the schools. So we had hundreds of unsaved teenagers coming to the rock show that we hoped to bring along. Not one showed up. Not one Christian showed up. Not one of the youth leaders showed up.
Well, we were bringing along. Sneaked in the back door.
But you see, that we just thought, okay, this is one of the reasons.
They couldn't control it.
We got the youngsters. We got the bandwagon happening. We got the response from the youth. The teenagers knew there was something. We were relating to them. Our music was, as I said, a person who's not saved doesn't understand a praise and worship song, but they do understand a song that's singing about some pain and an answer. In the world's secular music, a lot of people, they sing about all the problems, but they don't give the answers and the solutions. And I thought that the way that God had brought us, He had allowed us to go through things, that our music could sing about experiences, relate to the people, but also give the answers, solutions, and hope. That's why I felt God.
Very good. So Ireland, did you meet up with anyone? I know he has, by the way. That's why I'm asking. When you were there.
So Ireland was a very good experience. So we rocked up in Ireland, and we had an Irish drummer who was part of the band when we came over there. An Irish drummer, his name was Aaron Kennedy, and it turns out that Aaron Kennedy was teaching drums to a fella by the name of Phil Doherty's son. And Phil Doherty is Bono's guitar tech, Paul McCartney's guitar tech. And he invited us to meet with Phil Doherty because he believed we had good music. So we sat inside Phil Doherty's house. He invited us personally over. And everything over here was U2 and Bono, and everything over here was Sting and the Police. And said, play me your music. And we played Born on the Wrong Side. And he said, you guys have got it.
Oh,
why hasn't the world heard of your music? We said, well...
We're Christian. Well, you're in the middle.
Yeah.
Your problem is you're a Christian band, so you lose that. I'm saying problem was, I don't know what it is now. But also you're rejected from the church.
We're
so
rejected
you're sort
from
of
the
in the
church.
middle of it.
But the good part is God opened this, God opened this secular door, and it helped us to connect a lot with the U2 vibe, because I believe U2 has got a very strong Christian foundation.
Yeah.
And I know that Bon himself has been very challenging towards the church.
That's right.
And we felt ourselves coming on a very similar road. But I think our music is even more in depth on a Christian spiritual messaging ground. And so God opened up that door. And from there, we started connecting to some of the bigger resources. And we could see that God was calling us out to the world. But at the same time, while we're getting out and called out to the world, you still have to have a Christian foundation to guide this move. You know, and it led to the conversation that I had with you, and I heard your message. And we were talking about what's happening to the faith and to Christians right now. And we strongly believe that this move will happen, and there can be a revival, there can be a revolution, just as there was in the 60s, with people that have the message that we're carrying and giving people direction. But we need a foundation. We've been looking for that foundation, because we bring the kids on, we bring the teenagers on. And I was approached a church inside Edinburgh. We were doing a big tour, and the church said to me, they just don't feel this is part of their priorities.
Yeah.
The lost teenagers inside.
I think just one comment is that you know, the church history is littered with great moves of God, which just get stuck in time. So there was a proliferation of, let's say, chapels and Victorian churches built, but that was 150 years ago. And you know, the Gutenberg press, the Lord, and now we have the internet, and we've got social media, and we have the music revolution. So there has to be a way of tapping into that culture. Because I think the message of the gospel is for everyone, not just for those who are within church walls.
The righteous,
Anyway, that's my little pitch. But so you've kept your faith.
Through the
I see
journey.
you've got your cross on your bracelet on. So you've gone into this world. Do people ask you about your Christian faith when you're among some of these rock musicians? Yeah.
And I stand strong, because I believe there is no other way.
Because it's the truth.
It is the truth. And I'm willing to, from my perspective as a musician, as a stander for the truth, I will declare the way to people that I know through love.
And do you find that, because there's a barrier, isn't there? There's those who are celebrities and you know, plebs like me, and you don't have, no one really knows what's in the heart. But if you're spending time with them, do you find there is an openness to the gospel?
Yes, I think a lot of people are looking for answers. A lot of people are looking for truth, because, you know, we've gone through a lot of moves. The 60s move that happened was a great revival and great revolution, but the problem is there was two sides to that. People were looking for answers, and they were given the wrong answers. At the time, it was a big drug move that was happening, and if you look at the way that a lot of these, for bands, example, for the Rolling Stones and that kind of stuff, they just went down the wrong road. And, you know, from our side, we need that revival, and we need that, but we need to give the answers. And there was a movie that we really enjoyed recently called The Jesus Revolution. And
but I do see it promoted, so.
It's promoted because it's the same thing. And once again, you just see the hippies approach the church, and they were rejected, but there was one door that opened. And through that door opening, the move began. So, you know, I think that for our move to happen, the move that we believe that God is calling us to do, we need doors to open. Because you can't go out and get the masses and have nowhere to take these people and nowhere to be a part of the move, a revival, a revolution.
You're reminding me of an interview I just saw on YouTube or something with Alice Cooper and some church pastor in California now.
Good guys,
you couldn't, it was so incongruous, but when you listened, you thought, looking at him, you know, because I'm someone who wears a jacket and tie, you could just switch off, but I thought, oh no, I'm going to listen to this. And it was brilliant, and he was sharing his faith. So it just shows, don't look on the outward appearance.
They actually invited us to do a tour with them, Alice Cooper. Yeah, he got hold of us 2015 to log onto a States tour, and at the time we couldn't take it on because of other issues we're having inside the UK, but very good guys. I do like, there's a band that was involved called POD. I don't know if you've heard of POD, but many Christian people that are young, they should know of POD. Paid on Death. It's another Christian rock band that has done the similar move. They've gone out to the world.
And he does concerts with Johnny Depp, and you think, well, if he's a believer and he's in contact with him, and you know, what is the Lord doing? And I don't believe God's word returns void.
No.
So, you know, if you're speaking his word,
yes.
Obviously people are a bit concerned about the media and media image, but you can still reach them.
And you've got to be challenging.
Yeah.
I think from me being a musician, the approach of challenging people is one of the things that I enjoy. I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed of the gospel. I'm not ashamed of standing up for what I believe, but I'm not wanting to direct people towards a religion that's going to box them and manipulate and control them.
Or the problem with man-made religion is it can go off beam, but the structure's all there and it takes everyone with them.
Yeah.
So we see that a bit with our established churches. They are denying the gospel, but they're still a church and they've still got people turning up every Sunday.
Yeah.
That is a bit dangerous.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Probably the thing they'd be accusing you of is leading people astray.
Yeah.
And yet they're the whole movement.
Yes, where are they supposed to go?
Yeah.
You know, and for us, you look at the moves that music has. I believe music is always for the future. It's predicting the future. Music is a revival of poetry. You look at all the events that happen over the years. Music is always ahead of things, and I believe that if music is used in the right way, it can be extremely powerful. And if it's used in the wrong way, it can be used extremely powerful for the wrong means. Yeah. The music industry is a very powerful network to be in. It has a lot of power over people, a lot of power over the youth. And for me, the way that the music has gone over the last few years is just, where are things going? We need a redirection. Where are things going?
Just tell me where you've stayed together as a band.
Yeah.
All this time. That's quite rare.
Yeah.
But have you changed? Has your music style changed over the 20 years?
It's grown. It has grown over years. And I mean, we haven't stopped writing music over the last about events that have happened. But the music has grown as we've grown. Our experience has grown. I mean, when we started off, my brother was 16, Jono, and I was 18, and we're musicians that were thrown inside the biggest record company in South Africa as new musicians. So we started off as young apprentices, new, but after many years inside the music, it's helped us to mature and to experience and to mix with some of the most powerful people in the world as Christians, not ashamed of what we stand and believe in. And these people themselves have been really good to us, you know. And I do think that the people do appreciate truth and honesty. Yeah. You are who you are. And
youngsters do.
They love it.
So they're the ones that they're not hoodwinked by a false lifestyle ideologies. They question it, and there's something they don't quite ring true about that. So there's an opportunity, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Just tell me where you think we can go from now. You know, let's say in the 2020s. How do you reach the youth today? Because there are culture wars going on. You know, it's quite a minefield to even get acceptance to. I assume to have a gig. I mean, some doors are still closed, but hopefully. Well,
I think so. I think a lot of people are feeling that there's time for a move to happen. I think the last few years have been an experience that a lot of people have started realizing there's deception happening around us. There are lies that we've been pushed to our faces that are direct, and it's been told us the truth. And I think the truth that we know comes through Christ. Truth is through Jesus. There's no deception there. And the life that He's shown me and the life that I've lived is nothing religious. And it's nothing controlled and programmed. God created each one of us individually with a way to use the gifts and talents for His glory. We are a figment of His creation, and all the glory goes through to Him. But the gifts that He's given through to people like myself, I like to express this and show others that you can do it too. You can also do this with your life. You can be a Christian and have a good life, getting out there, reaching out to people. It's not about going to the Sunday service every single Sunday, you know, and being bored out of your head with boring music. You can be a Christian, have a good song, and you can be doing a show and touring the world, reaching out to young people with a message and a challenge. And people love challenge. They love. You've got to be willing to do that, you know. And I find that God has led that way. And I think we're on that season right now where the last 3 years for me as well has been a bit of a life changer. We were about to release a single in 2020 called "Sinking In Again," and God held us back because the last 3 years have been an eye opener for us. And the lyrics of that song are in depth and very deeper meaning. And I think this new single We hope to get it out to the world. We hope to get it out to people who've got ears, people that are questioning what's going on, people that want a revival, people that want to stand up against the move that's happening, against all these things right now that's getting pushed in us, from the TV through to the radio, getting told us it's normal. But it's not normal.
Yeah.
And there's love. We love each other. It's just not like we need to be an example of, but there is a certain kind of love that Jesus gives us that is also strong, and it is solid. And the truth is the truth.
Do you find now that how your creative outputs, is it largely on the internet, or are you able to have live venues still?
That's the plan. We want to kick off a live venue tour, because we always find online is okay, but the actual connection with the people. For me, my biggest experience to getting out is actually connecting with the people. And I don't know if you yourself have ever been to any big rock shows, but
long time ago.
Yeah.
Christian.
Sorry, yeah. There's some good bands. I mean,
not risk the other ones.
Yeah.
Too much mud.
Did you ever go see Delirious?
I have. I heard of them.
363.
Yeah. They're sort of ringing somewhere in my memory.
Yeah. The closest connection was Delirious that we had with what we're trying to do. But you need that connection with the people. And we always got our experience with the shows, connecting with the audience. And then that would also grow people's experience and then witnessing to others, So that's the goal, is we've got the music, we've got the material out there, and we're ready to start the revival. We're ready to start the Jesus Revolution 2.0 all the way. But for that to happen, it's God's time, and God needs to awaken people to be a part of this move, because we're standing out with the flag.
Yeah.
Patriotic flag.
And in terms...
Time for revival.
In terms of those that you would... How would you market? Would you risk marketing to the church? How would you actually market your tour?
Yeah, the church has been a tough one, as I said, for us. Like we've always said, but I know God always works, and God has led us that way so that I have experience in my life to reach out to the world.
Because if I had a church, I'd have no hesitation to open the doors, having talked with you about your faith. But there is still this kind of, standoffish approach, because rock is dark.
There's the dark side of it, but God can use anything. God can transform anything for His glory, and as long as we give it through to Him. So I think if the Christian community wants to see the turnaround, and they want to see they need to open their eyes to the truth, and they need to be awakened to the deception, because the religious structure has been a big part of the problem that we're facing right now. And this is why the youngsters don't want to go. That's why they don't want to go to these places.
It is true, isn't it, when you look at the stats? The irony is, there was a research a couple of years ago that most people, even adults, when they're asked, what age were you when you came to know the Lord? I think about 70% were before or up to the age of 18. But you look at the churches today, there aren't many people who are under 18. So that sort of feed through isn't there. So we do need to work out.
No, we do. But
we'll need the Lord's guidance.
The world is offering all of these temptations and attractions, but at the same time, God is a beautiful creator. We live in a world that is just beautiful, and we're getting taken away from experiencing God's creation. We're getting programmed and brainwashed with things that are just stories. We're told that we were not created, but we evolved. It's a lot of bollocks. You know what I mean? It's pretty clear that there's an artist and there's a design. And people...
even with music, especially, just the miracle of music going into your ear, being sort of somehow broken down in the cochlear and then synthesized into the brain, and you can hear and differentiate different sounds. That doesn't sound like something that happened accidentally.
No. And music is an experience, and when you ever go to, from my experience, a concert and a music show where the presence of Jesus is there, but you're not just, once again, you've got the praise and worship side, but when you're talking about your experience with Christ through life, it is an experience that many people don't forget. That changes their lives, and that opens up the door that Jesus is cool. He is cool.
I know you've got kids. We're in the last few minutes, but what do they think of their dad?
They love it.
Groove?
They love it. So I've got two kids, and I've got an upcoming drummer, our son, and he's already planning on working on our next music video. And my daughter, she's a musician as well. She's a guitarist and a piano player. And she's on board if I need anybody backstage to do the backing vocals. I got her to sing inside the new single that we've been working on called Sinking In Again. And she had this vocal.
And you do it in what I would call the old-fashioned way. You layer it. So you'll sing one part and then sing another part or play this part, and then you'd bring it all together?
I sing it all through. So when we'll record the instruments individually. So I'll lock myself up, get a guitar, write a song, and then we sit together, put the drums and the bass and the vocals together. But for me, my music is very, I always start off with the music and I start expressing myself to the tunes. And I find the words that fit into the mood. And when we were working on the single, there was a lot of emotion inside the song. There was a lot of depth inside it. So the song is called Sinking In Again. And if you look, I think I sent you guys some of the design of the art. There's a lot of storytelling inside this song. And obviously we had some extra vocals coming in the harmonies, and my daughter.
Do you dare to put specific Bible verses in your lyrics? Do you draw from it? You mentioned the Psalms.
Yes. So I would say my own version is there's got David in the Bible. Yes, there was many psalmists, but David wrote a lot of the Psalms. And I just think right now, even from my perspective, I'm writing a new time and age of my own version of my relationship with Christ. And some of the songs that I'm singing about right now are deep. I mean, there's songs that it's called Endless Love. It's a very good emotional song. It's singing about a child being born and creation and love and life and marriage and the beauty of God's creation. But then you've got a song that's singing is drowning, and it's a deep emotion. And you know, I'm crying out, where are the answers? Where are the solutions?
But that is the Psalms. Again, it's real life experience that David spoke about.
It is.
You remind me a bit of Louis Armstrong with "It's a Wonderful World." But
it's a wonderful world.
It's just so simple.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna, when the babies whatever cry, they're gonna know much more than we'll ever know.
I feel that the world is taking away the gifts that God has given us. God has given the people. It's telling you need to do this, to do that. I picked up a guitar with no lessons. I locked up in the room, blindfolded myself, and started playing. And here I am, an untaught musician who can write and play and perform and sign a big record deal.
Amazing, amazing.
Several #1 hit singles. So you don't have to be programmed to do that. God has given us the ability, and people need to see that. They need to realize that there is no limits through Jesus.
Wonderful. David Quinton, Dr. Groove, Saints of Bliss.
That's correct.
It's been a great pleasure. We'll have another opportunity to talk, and maybe even introduce you to Howard Conda, the drummer with Barron Knights. So we'll do that in the future. It's been a real blessing. You've been watching Face to Face. Look forward to joining you next time.